Good afternoon, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Fantasy Football Harsh Reality. I am your host, Greg Romero Wilson, and I'm here once again to dole out unnecessary, unasked for, unheralded, unlistened to fantasy football advice as we go into week 3. Now, I'm actually doing great. I'm in second place in one league. I'm in third place in the other league. I have the highest amount of points in one league. I took a tough weekend last weekend. Just, everything kind of went topsy-turvy, and I went topsy-turvy with it. My incredible team, my beautiful team went, both of them lost, including my beloved Dallas Cowboys. It was just a very rough weekend, but I expect, just like for a lot of teams, I expect this to be a big bounce-back weekend. I expect everything to get back in its natural order of things, because last week was a clear demonstration of why we play the game, or why they play the game. I don't play shit, but they play the game because the Buffalo Bills, Minnesota, New England, getting beaten, all these things by Detroit, I was very surprised. So this week, though, I think the world kind of comes a little bit more back on track. I mean, obviously, there's surprises every week. That's what makes it so exciting. But let's get into it. Let's run through the games. It starts tonight. I'm super excited. What a game. And it's because I think they're moving to Fox this week. And that's why normally these Thursday night games, they throw them out to any piece of shit team that they're like, listen, let's try to get them some national attention. But this week, man, they start out with a barn burner with Minnesota at the LA Rams. And listen, here's the thing, the Rams, both their star quarterbacks, which the reason you draft the Rams, the reason I draft the Rams, the reason I've been so high on the Rams isn't just the pass rush, which luckily they still have Ndamukong Suh and Aaron Donald. But they're going to be without both Aqib Talib and Jason Peters, or whatever his first name is, Marcus Peters, I think. So without those two corners, I think this is the Vikings are primed, absolutely primed to be for a big comeback game. And yes, Adam Hunter, I am planning to be there at 3. Hopefully, I can rush through these predictions and make it over to your house by 3 o'clock. I realized I was running out of time, but I got to get this in too. So everyone that's tuning in, thank you for joining in as we go through this. As you know, if you're listening to the audio, sometimes I will begin answering questions from my Facebook audience, my friends, my family, everybody on Facebook that sees my broadcast live. If you have any lineup quandaries, remember, it's always so much easier to pick somebody else's lineup than your own. So if you have any lineup questions, be sure and post them right here on the feed. Hey, Bill Seeley, how are you, buddy? Tuning in from New York City. Adam, what's going on? As I said, I do plan to be there at 3 o'clock. Hopefully I can get through all these projections in time. So I do like now with the Minnesota and the Rams game, Rams will be without either corner. So that being the case, I expect a huge passing day for Kirk Cousins, Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen. Now, as I feared, Adam Thielen is the more consistent volume receiver, but the big play guy is Stephon Diggs, and I think Stephon Diggs gets away with some big ones tonight. I look forward to that. I do think it's going to be a bad night for this Rams defense, only because I think they get some sacks. I think you do get 8 to 10 points out of them, probably a fumble recovery, but you don't, but you're not going to, they're going to burn you with the receivers, and they're going to give up big points, and I think that's going to hurt the production. And we're talking about a defense that I love, a defense that's been giving you 18 to 20 points every single game so far this year. But I don't expect that tonight. I expect them to float down into the 8 to 10 realm. I would love to use Tennessee as my streamer this week. But versus Philadelphia, an offense that, yes, they may or may not be getting back Alshon Jeffrey. I realize that, but I think they're a sputtering offense. They're in Tennessee. I would much rather play Tennessee, but there's no one on my bench that I can sacrifice for just a few points out of my defense. And the Rams are still, ultimately considered an elite defense, and hopefully they still get me sacks and they deliver those points. And again, remember, if you have lineup questions, type them in here to the Facebook feed and we'll answer them. So, I think it's going to be a bad night for the Rams defense. You got to start the stars, though, on the Rams. The offense, even though I think the Minnesota defense is going to be looking for a get-right game, obviously, I think you still got to start the Minnesota defense if you have them. Ultimately, I think the Rams win it tonight, 34-31. Cincinnati, Atlanta, this should be another high-scoring game. There's a lot of very high-scoring games happening this weekend, so it should be fucking jizz fest for points for some of these teams. Cincinnati and Atlanta. This is another one of those high-scoring games. I think in terms of streaming tight ends, Tyler Eifert is still out there on the waiver wire in both my leagues. If you need and it's such a thin division, I think Eifert has a big game. I think Hooper has a decent game. I like both of these tight ends as a streaming option if you're looking for a streamer at the tight end. AJ Green is back. So if you were planning to plug and play Tyler Boyd, I know I wasn't on the Tyler Boyd bandwagon. Then I went and I used good fob money to pick him up off the waiver wire because I'm on the Tyler Boyd bandwagon right now. But I wouldn't play him if you don't absolutely have to. Because with AJ Green back and the Atlanta defense not being that great, in fact, being like a sieve, I don't know if Tyler Boyd's going to beat Juju Smith this week. But you never know. And the same with Ridley. And the thing about both of these guys is now they're on the defensive radar. Now they're going to be seeing a lot of other things. A lot more defense is going to be focused on them. So I wouldn't, and a lot of guys are putting in Ridley. You're chasing last week's points. Again, temper expectations for both Ridley and Tyler Boyd in this one. But if you got to start them, start them. I mean, they should do something considering both these defenses are kind of reeling. But the defenses are definitely more aware of them. At the end of the day, I think Atlanta wins this one 38-27. All right, let's keep going. Ray Anderson, how are you? Richard Barba, what's up, buddy? Thanks for tuning in. Again, if you have fantasy football lineup questions, please type them in. Let's see what comes out. All right. Tampa Bay and Chicago. Now, this is a game that may actually wind up being more defensive. I know it looks on the surface like it should be high scoring with Tampa Bay, but Chicago defense is without a question the best defense they will have faced so far this year. So, you know, I would temper expectations with Tampa Bay. I still like Mike Evans, and that's the only really person that I like on Tampa Bay side of the ball. I don't like Fitzpatrick. I think he goes out there. I think he gets a start, sucks the dick, as is his way, and gets replaced in the fourth quarter by Jameis Winston. So, that being the case, I want to keep my eye on Trey Burton. A lot of people are saying this is a great opportunity to start Trey Burton, and Trey Burton has been projecting the right direction, but if you don't have to play him, I wouldn't play him just yet. I do, however, like Jordan Howard. I think he's going to eat Tampa Bay's been giving up the 6th most points to running back position. So, by the way, I'd like to thank the guys in my fantasy football league for arguing via text during my broadcast. Tampa Bay is giving up the 6th most points. I like Allen Robinson in this one. I think Allen Robinson begins to eat. I hate Peyton Barber. I gave this guy up. I think that Peyton Barber is a disappointment, and I don't see him improving. I mean, with that passing game rolling along the way it was, you think Peyton Barber would have gotten better opportunities. Nothing showed up. I don't think anything changes once Jameis Winston comes back. So, you know, sorry, Peyton. And again, it's a gamble on the tight ends. If you have O.J. Howard, you play O.J. Howard. If you have Cameron Brate, you play Cameron Brate. But, I mean, it's a toss-up, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring in this game. Ultimately, I think Chicago wins it 17-13. Detroit versus my beloved Dallas Cowboys. Dallas. That was a very, very brutal butt fucking we took last week in Seattle. Trish Smith, thanks for tuning in. How are you, darling? Good to see you. If you have a fantasy football question, be sure and type it in. But now, I mean, in Dallas has always at least been a 1 o'clock game, if not the marquee game of the week. They've been demoted to 10 a.m. Nobody gives a fuck about Detroit versus Dallas. And that's tragic, but that's the way that it is. And I can't blame them. Both teams kind of look like garbage right now, despite Detroit's win last week. They're at Dallas. Dallas defense plays very well at home. So in what could be a sneaky play, I would play, if you needed a good defense, you might consider streaming the Dallas defense. Zeke is the only offensive player that I like for the Cowboys. If you're on Detroit, you got to play your stars. You got to play Matt Stafford. You know, but really, I think Galladay is the guy that might have a big day for Detroit. And really, than that, I don't really like anybody else in this matchup. And I think, unfortunately, Detroit wins it 27-17. Oh, God, that hurt to say. All right, moving on. Buffalo at Green Bay. And this one is loaded with question marks. Green Bay did not look good last week. and against, who was it, Miami or the Jets, somebody, but they didn't look good, and they lost. And Buffalo, all of a sudden, came alive and beat Minnesota in Minnesota. So, which Buffalo team shows up? And I mean this seriously, because here's the thing. Is this a situation where Josh Allen enlivens this team? McCoy says that he's going to come back, and we don't know if McCoy is going to be McCoy. And that's the thing. Now, McCoy's been incredibly disappointing this season, but does he see a resurgence with this Josh Allen character now? So there's a lot of things to look at. There's a lot of question marks to be answered here. Also, is it time to stash Kelvin Benjamin? What you don't want is Josh Allen to demonstrate he's got a huge chemistry with Kelvin Benjamin, and then everybody's trying to pick him up come next Monday. So what you want to do is if you have room on your bench and you need a receiver, maybe this is a good time right now to stash Kelvin Benjamin. In Green Bay, I like Rodgers. And again, which receiver is going to get the points? I mean, is it going to be spread all over the place? Is it going to be Davante Adams? For me, Davante Adams is the play, because even last week, despite the fact that I liked the lesser ones, he still was their number one receiver. So I would say stay with Davante Adams, and the other two, particularly the green-eyed one. Anyways, he's a total get. Cobb is a gamble. Geronimo Allison, I think, is a little bit more a better bet. But either way, I'm not too big on either of those. I would stick with Davante Adams in that one. And keep an eye on Charles Clay. Again, Josh Allen may need that outlet pass, and the tight end division is so very thin, and he doesn't split that title with anybody else like they do down at Tampa Bay, or now at the Eagles with Goddard getting receptions. So that being the case, keep your eye on Clay. He may be somebody to pick up off the waiver next week. But ultimately, I think Green Bay wins it 24-13. They should, but who knows, man? This Buffalo team is a mystery. A mystery. Okay. Philadelphia, Tennessee. Now, this game blows. This is a defensive game, straight up and down. Both offenses are struggling incredibly. Derrick Henry, winner this year of the Watched Pot Never Boils Award, Derrick Henry. This is a guy I refuse to let go of. I just feel like he's going to find it. But where the fuck are you, you fucking cocksucker? You drive me crazy. And of course, Philadelphia is a very tough defense against the run. It shouldn't be this week, but is it this week? Could it be? Maybe. Come on, Derrick Henry, do something resembling anything. Okay. But this game's going to be about defense. So that being the case, and seriously, besides Ertz, I can't think of one person I would want to play off of Philadelphia. Philadelphia, I would only play Ertz. Tennessee, I wouldn't play anybody. But ultimately, I think Tennessee wins this at home with defense 13-9. Oh, it's going to be a barn burner. Miami at New England. Okay, and this is another one. Okay, Miami's been looking very strong, and New England is reeling. So is this going to be the greatest day in Miami history, or is it going to be the reckoning of Tom Brady? And that is the question, okay? And I don't know. I don't know the answer. I thought last week my angry Brady was going to come out. Now, Miami isn't coached by a former coach, long-time defensive coach, the way that Detroit was. So it should be Tom Brady's reckoning. It should be the reckoning of Tom Brady. And so that being the case, I think you got to play Tom Brady. I think, hopefully this week. Otherwise, I'll say it again next week when Julian Edelman comes back. I just make excuses for this fucking handsome jackass. You got to play Gronk. But really on offense, I'd stay away from everybody else except for maybe Sonny Michel. If he plays, he's your flex. I like the New England defense. I think the New England defense is going to be great at home, and I think they're going to put the wood to this Miami team. Although, again, not knowing what we got, how this is going to go, I still like Stills, and I like Gore and Drake in this one. I think they're going to have to be physical if they want to beat this New England team. And I got to tell you, I like Gore a little bit more than Drake. I think they're going to have to try and run it hard. But yes, fuck Tom Brady. In the words of everyone in Philadelphia, fuck Tom Brady. But this could be angry Brady. I know he completely disappointed last week. Listen, I know, I'm with you, but he's at home this time. Does he lose? Losing 2 in a row? What is happening? Now 3? Will he lose 3? I don't want any part of this game. I'm staying away from it, but ultimately I do think New England wins it 27-24. Jets at Jacksonville. I love the Jacksonville defense in this one. I think the Jacksonville defense feasts all day. Can the offense make any points out of it? You know, I was stupid enough to pick Keelan Cole. Everyone's like, but he's the number one receiver in Jacksonville. Fuck the number one receiver in Jacksonville, because he's still got to fucking catch the ball from Bortles, someone I have hated from day one. I don't like him now. That team would win the Super Bowl if they just move on from that fucking loser. So at the end of the day, I do still like Powell and maybe a Nunwa for the Jets, because they're going to have to throw it short, and that's going to be a Nunwa. Fournette is a maybe, but if he plays, that really will change the game. You play Fournette, and that would open up a lot of things. Without Fournette, I think Jacksonville's offense continues to sputter, and it's not worth playing anybody without Fournette in the game. Ultimately, based on defense, Jacksonville wins 24-10. Let's look at Cleveland versus Oakland. Finally, the world catches up with the Cleveland defense. What have I been saying? I've been saying it all along. I've been saying it week after week, show after show, that we would be talking about this Cleveland defense. And now everyone's talking about this Cleveland's defense. Yeah, agreed. Thank you, John, for tuning in. John Garnett coming in, and he said, yeah, he's a Seahawks fan, but even he knows Brady is the GOAT. Absolutely, this should be the get-right game for him. He should spread the ball around. You don't know who he's going to depend on. Probably a lot of Gronk, a lot of short passes out maybe to Sony Michel. I don't know, but this should be the get-right game for him. But everyone's finally caught up with what I've been saying about the Cleveland defense. They're a great defense. I don't even think they're available for streaming anymore. Guys that picked them up are playing them with consistency. I lost to this defense last week. They put up 20. My Rams defense put up 18. So the Browns defense, if you got them, they're this year's Jacksonville. Now, in this matchup, I don't like Jordy Nelson, even though he had a big week last week. Nope, not this week. I don't like Cooper, and I don't like Martavis Bryant. I don't like David Carr. The only person maybe would be Marshawn Lynch. If they're going to have any success, they're going to have to go with the power run. And, I mean, what are we going to see from the Cleveland offense? This is it. This is a big discovery week with Brady, with Baker coming out. Who knows? Baker's going to have to show some shit. Everybody's like all on his dick. Let's see it. But because Baker Mayfield is playing, suddenly I'm really excited about Njoku. This is a guy with a ton of talent who Tyrod Taylor has not been getting the ball to. Baker Mayfield lit him up twice in the limited amount that he played last week. I like Njoku. And I like Njoku. I like Hyde, and I like Landry. I'm going to take a wait and see with Callaway, because you got to see if there's that chemistry there. He's got all the talent, but who knows? And I'll tell you someone else I still believe in, Jared Cook. I know that Cleveland's a great defense, but I think Jared Cook might be the guy that's open. And listen, folks, he should have gotten 2 touchdowns last week. He got right on the line and was called short twice. They're looking for Cook in the red zone. I still like Jared Cook in this matchup. Ultimately, I think Cleveland routs Oakland 35-17. Seattle at Arizona. Okay, Seattle sure looked back on track against the Cowboys, but they're not at home this time. But they are playing Arizona. They are a streamer's choice for defense. You want to go with Seattle. Arizona, they have not been able to get it going a little bit. But the question is, will Josh Rosen come and ball out? I mean, he said they made 4 mistakes before him. All these other guys are starting. Josh has really Rosen has put himself in a situation where he's got to ball out against Seattle, even on the road, even this different defense. I don't know. I'm not buying it. I like Russell Wilson. I like Tyler Lockett. I like Carson. Play Chris Carson. Arizona gives up the most points to running back. Play Chris Carson. Perhaps Baldwin. If he plays, you got to play him. Ultimately, I think Seattle wins this one 24-13. New Orleans at the Giants. Here we go. Let's keep it moving. Did the Giants get right last week? I don't know. Maybe they did. I don't know. And that's the thing. This should be a high-scoring affair, particularly for the Saints, because the Giants' defense is what are the words? Sucking the dick. So I still like Barkley, though. Even if they're playing from behind, I think you'll still be getting a lot of outlet swing passes for first downs. I love ODB in this matchup because I think they're going to have to sling the ball to keep up. I love all the Saints. Play your Saints. Breeze, Thomas, Ginn, even Ben Watson. I like him as a streamer at the tight end position. I hate both the defenses. Don't touch them. New Orleans wins this one 31-24. San Francisco at the Chargers. Again, even though the Chargers are without Bosa and will be for a while. And Fitzgerald, forget about Fitzgerald. He's not coming back this week either. It's all about what we learned about Josh Rosen, and he's put himself in a real pickle of a situation with a lot of pressure, not just of being a rookie quarterback, going against Seattle, even though they're at home, and all the shit he already talked about the other quarterbacks. I think Josh Allen, I think he takes it in the poop chute pretty hard all fucking afternoon. So, and yes, they celebrated really hard because they got their first win in forever. That doesn't mean they've lost focus. I think they're excited. I think they're rejuvenated. Let's learn. We're going to learn about Baker Mayfield and those Cleveland Browns. Okay. San Francisco with the Chargers. I still like, in this one, I do like Breda more than Morris because I think they're going to have to do short dump-off passes with this new guy. I don't think they're going to be able to do power run because they're going to stack the box against the power run. So I think like Morris was better last week. I think Breda is better this week. And I think they're going to have to lean on that outlet pass to the running backs. It'll be interesting to see if C.J. Beathard can connect with Garcon. Garoppolo had been incapable of connecting with Garcon. But Beathard really liked him last season. So we'll, you know what, now may be a good time to go grab Garcon and play him. Nobody's looking. Grab that one. But I think ultimately Chargers win this one very handily in a rout, 31-16. Baltimore at Pittsburgh. I mean, this should be another high-scoring game. I love Juju Smith-Schuster in this one. You got to play Antonio Brown, but I don't know that this is the get-right game for him. I really don't. I think in the tight end position, it's pick a pit. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to pick a Pittsburgh tight end. Who's it going to be? Vance McDonald or Jesse James? Jesse James or Vance McDonald? 2 weeks ago it was Jesse James. Last week it was Vance McDonald. Who's it going to be? And really, I don't know. But Vance McDonald, I think, is going to be the one that's, he's listed as the number one. So that being the case, I'd go pick up Vance McDonald off the waiver wire. I think he's a good streaming option. I also like Buck Allen and John Brown for the Baltimore Ravens. I do not like Alex Collins. I've never believed in Alex Collins. John Brown. I think John Brown's going to be the man in this one for Baltimore. Connor, the running back for Pittsburgh, he should do okay. But Baltimore is very tough against the run. Don't expect it to be a big star day for Connor. Ultimately, I think Pitt wins at home 27-24. And finally, Monday night, Kansas City at Denver, high-scoring affair, lots of fireworks, big fireworks finale. You know they always save the big fireworks for the end. That's going to be Kansas City at Denver. They're going to be going nuts. High-scoring, fireworks finale, play all the offense, none of the defenses. And if you need a kicker, yes, Flacco is wildly overrated. He's proven that even with this guy, he's going to be replaced by the end of the season. If they don't, I don't think Flacco's starting at the end of the season. Kansas City, when they get eliminated from playoff contention, we're going to see the other kid come in. But Kansas City, and if you're looking for a streamer kicker, play one of these kickers. Butker, who's probably already owned and is playing, but Brandon McManus for Denver. I think it's a high-scoring affair, and I think Kansas City wins it 42-33. All right, that's it, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in for this week's edition of Fantasy Football Hush Reality. Follow me on Twitter at The Greg Wilson. Follow me on everything else at Greg Romero Wilson. You guys have been fantastic. Remember, if you want to learn the craft of comedy, look at my website, The Comedy Institute. The 5-week class is completely sold out, but there is still some room in the crowd work and riffing, or not crowd work, in storytelling and handling hecklers. You guys have been a lot of fun. You guys take care. Enjoy your week. Happy fantasy. Play those games. Talk to you later.